Most businesses don't have a demand problem. They have a cash flow stability problem caused by lack of focus. Revenue is being generated. Opportunities exist. Activity is high. But cash remains inconsistent, not because the market is weak, but because the system is fragmented. A business can look busy and still feel financially unstable. That contradiction is where most leaders misread performance. This matters most for founders and operators managing growth. Agencies, service businesses, growth stage companies. Because as the business expands, complexity increases. More offers, more channels, more initiatives, more moving parts. And what feels like progress begins to introduce instability. Cash flow discipline is not about increasing volume. It is about controlling how revenue moves, converts, and arrives. By the end of this video, you'll understand why lack of focus creates unstable cash flow and how to structure your business for predictable financial outcomes. The most common assumption is simple. We just need more sales. It sounds logical. More sales should solve revenue gaps. More revenue should stabilize the business. But that assumption ignores structure. Revenue is recorded when a deal is closed. Cash is received when payment is collected. Those are two different realities. Between them is where instability begins. Now introduce complexity. Multiple offers convert at different rates. Multiple channels produce inconsistent demand. Different delivery paths create variability in execution. That variability breaks financial predictability. Revenue may increase overall, but cash flow becomes inconsistent. This is where many founders experience pressure without understanding why. They see growth, they see opportunity, they see activity, but they feel instability. Now consider how this pressure escalates. The business grows, new offers are introduced, new channels are tested, marketing expands across platforms, teams are split across priorities, operational overhead increases. Each initiative appears rational in isolation, but collectively, they create fragmentation. Then early signals begin to appear. Conversion rates vary widely. Cash inflow becomes uneven. Receivables are harder to track. Decision-making slows down. Financial planning becomes reactive instead of structured. Leadership attention becomes divided. Revenue hasn't collapsed, but liquidity feels unstable. Because timing has become inconsistent across multiple systems. And once timing becomes inconsistent, control begins to erode. The business shifts from intentional execution to continuous adjustment. There are three structural risks behind this pattern. First, revenue is not liquidity. Revenue reflects activity. Liquidity reflects usable cash. When focus is fragmented, revenue behaves inconsistently across streams. This creates uneven inflow timing. Even with strong revenue, cash availability fluctuates. That fluctuation introduces pressure in planning and decision-making. Growth appears strong, but stability weakens. Second, fixed cost sensitivity. As the business expands, fixed costs increase. Payroll grows. Tools and subscriptions multiply. Operational overhead expands. These costs require consistent cash outflow. When inflow becomes inconsistent, the system becomes sensitive. Small disruptions create disproportionate pressure. Flexibility decreases. What once felt manageable becomes restrictive. Third, decision timing exposure. In complex systems, decisions are made based on projected revenue across multiple streams. but cash is collected at different times. When commitments are made before cash is received, exposure increases. The business becomes dependent on timing across multiple variables, and multiple variables increase risk. This creates hidden financial fragility that is difficult to detect early. Consider a simple scenario. A business generates $220,000 in monthly revenue across 4 different offers. Each offer has different conversion rates, different pricing structures, different delivery timelines, different payment terms. Monthly expenses are $140,000. On paper, the business looks healthy. Now, introduce inconsistency. One offer slows down, another delays payment cycles, a third underperforms in conversion, a fourth requires additional delivery resources. Total revenue still appears strong, but cash inflow becomes uneven. Expenses remain fixed. Cash tightens. Nothing has failed structurally, but predictability disappears. And without predictability, control is lost. The business begins reacting instead of planning. To control this, founders need a structured approach. Principle 1. Concentrate revenue streams. Reduce fragmentation in offers and channels. Focus on what converts consistently. This improves predictability and reduces variability. Consistency creates control. Principle 2. Align conversion and cash timing. Ensure that how revenue is generated aligns with how it is collected. Simplify payment structures. Standardize terms where possible. Consistency in timing improves financial visibility and planning accuracy. Principle 3. Control complexity before scaling. Before expanding, evaluate whether the current system produces consistent outcomes. If results are variable, adding more inputs increases instability. Growth should improve reliability, not reduce it. There is another layer founders must recognize. Cash flow instability often appears as behavior before it appears in reports. Leaders hesitate before making commitments. Teams shift priorities frequently. Financial reviews become more frequent. Confidence in planning decreases. Decisions require more validation than before. These are signals of structural inconsistency, not lack of demand, but lack of focus in the system. The business is producing revenue, but not producing it in a controlled, repeatable way. If this continues, fragility increases over time. The business becomes reactive. Decisions are made under pressure. Opportunities are missed. Because the system cannot produce consistent financial outcomes. And without consistency, there is no control. Eventually, the constraint is no longer demand. It is the system's inability to convert activity into stable cash flow. Revenue fuels growth. Liquidity protects survival. Complexity creates activity. Focus creates stability. Fragmentation creates variability. Consistency creates control. If your business depends on multiple inconsistent inputs to produce revenue, your cash flow will remain unstable. A more useful question is not how to grow faster. It is how to make revenue more consistent, predictable, and aligned with cash flow timing. If you value structured breakdowns like this focused on financial control and operational stability, subscribe for more strategic insights.